Happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome back to our Fireside chat. Today, we are still talking about mental health in honor of Mental Health Month in October. We're going to be diving into some pretty heavy issues today around mental health, addiction, and wellness. I think that these are some of the topics that are often hard to talk about. Today, we're going to go there. We're going to have these challenging conversation in hopes of being able to educate our audience, to empower you, and also to help lift up these issues that our communities care about. First, I want you to do me a favor and share this message out wherever you're watching, whether on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or on Facebook. We want to get this message out to as many people as possible. So do us a favor and share this out. We also want to engage with you throughout this time. So please, if there's anything that is resonating with you, put it into the chat box and engage with us. We want to hear back from you. Today, we have Ashley Martin with us, and I'm so excited to finally speak with her. She and I were supposed to have a segment earlier this year in our Atlanta podcast location, but we weren't able to. So it's great to finally be able to talk to Ashley and hear about all of the incredible work that she's been doing. So, Ashley, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So I'm going to get started with talking a little bit about your bio and some of your work, and then
Yeah.
we'll jump into some questions about how you do it, what your expertise is, and then just any encouragement that you may be able to give the audience on this topic of mental health and addiction.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Ashley Martin is a dynamic behavioral healthcare provider, serving as a licensed professional counselor, a certified master addiction counselor, a licensed and board certified behavioral analyst, a certified anger management specialist, and a certified relapse prevention specialist. Ms. Martin has over 18 years of experience collectively working with schools, children, adults, and families with mental health, substance abuse, and alcohol, intellectual developmental disabilities, and the autism spectrum. Ashley decided to open her own outpatient behavioral health care business in 2021 with providing virtual services sparked by the pandemic of COVID to be able to continue to reach and provide convenient professional teletherapy. Her practice now services people in person and homes, schools, incarcerated detention facilities, as well as virtually. In 2015, she graduated from St. Joseph's University with a postmaster's in criminal justice with concentration in applied behavior analyst, and received her master's in forensic psychology and graduate certificate in psychology. So, as you can see, Ashley is well rounded and an expert in this area. Once again, Ashley, thank you for being with me today.
No, thank you so much, and you're welcome.
As I was reading through your bio, Ashley, a question actually popped up in my head that I wanted to ask you, and it was around thinking about your business and when you decided to start this incredible company, mental health and addiction company. It was right in the height of the pandemic, and is typically when you think about the pandemic, I don't know if we really highlighted some of the issues of addiction and how that may have showed up during that time. And I was wondering if you can speak a little bit to what were some of the problems that people were facing around addiction and substance abuse that led you to starting this organization.
Yeah, so thank you once again. So as we all know, COVID definitely affected us all. Something I noticed at the forefront was the high rates of suicide, deaths, and just dealing with grief, and this people trying to find ways to cope with it all, not being able to go in person to a therapy office. Really the hospitals were limited on admitting individuals, so it's very, very, very rough situation. So being able to at that time source myself out to different online facets with entities that offered that mental health therapy, I then connected even with more and more people across domestically across the US. So it really opened my eyes up to the need. at that point.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And as you mentioned, COVID essentially exacerbated the issues that we were already facing. I know part of your business model actually is to also focus and serve those that are incarcerated. And I'm wondering if you can also speak to some of the challenges that they were facing during the pandemic and what are some of the challenges that they're still facing today.
The resources, uh, clinicians that's even wanting to work with that population,
Yeah.
especially during COVID.
Mhm.
No one really wanted the face-to-face contact. Being competent virtually was also another hurdle. A lot of clinicians will come across. Some clinicians just prefer not to,
Mhm.
which is their right. So currently, right now, even within being in detentions, that could be also a barrier that I've noticed they come across.
Mhm.
So with that also in mind, I feel as though things has got better when it comes to some resources that I've come across, and I'll get a little bit more into detail regarding those resources. Um, that I've noticed that certain establishments has come about different teams of different companies. It's like a hub of different companies that come together to actually try to help these individuals so they will not be back incarcerated again. So helping that recidivism.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've been with having that certification and um, helping individuals that have relapsed. Essentially, probably even a part of that, what I'm sort of seeing is like this intersectionality between people that are in prison and then those that may be dealing with addictions. And it sounds like you're creating this sort of restorative justice model that helps people on different fronts, help them to deal with addiction. Because if we want to deal with recidivism, for example, we have to help people be able to be restored. So it
Yes.
sounds like you're also helping that the whole person and not just looking at just coming out of prison and how do we make sure you not go back in, but how do
Yeah.
we restore you once you've been out? And how do
Yeah.
we restore you once you're in? Yes, please.
Exactly. So to add to that, you have to restore the whole person, mentally, physically, in all aspects. There's no need, not say it's no need, but it really doesn't the person justice if they just seek substance abuse therapy. They need to also have a clinician that is well versed in mental health as
Mhm,
well. So being able to get both at the same time
mhm,
truly, truly will help that individual because you have to address the substance, yes, because if they're in a mood altering state, that needs to be addressed. But if once that person has, you know, became sober and able to, functionally communicate, then yes, both dynamics are able to be addressed at the same time.
absolutely, absolutely. And can you give us an example of like what it looks like for your organization, Changing Leads Intervention Human Services, to address that problem and to address the whole person? What's one way that you guys have been able to do that?
We're very comprehensive. So from the very beginning, we do what we call biopsychosocials, which is an intake done by our clinicians. And from there, we develop a person centered treatment plan using their words, right? We don't want to tell them what to do, we want them to feel motivated. So making them feel a part of um, is also the part of the process. Also, making sure that we are holistic in the sense of making sure that we give those resources if they need to follow up the primary care doctor or if they need a referral to a dentist or some resources that we may know that they need medication management. Certain entities such as Grady can give out a week's worth for free until a person's able to get that medications again. HIV testing, there's different resources within the community to help them along their way. And then from there, we do either diagnostic or psychological testing with specializations in intellectual disabilities and bipolar and autism and, just a few others with as far as specializations, but we're able to, as far as diagnose from all streams. But those are some of the testings that we're able to do.
That's incredible. And it sounds like part of helping individuals that are dealing with addictions is a community and
Yeah.
being able to rely on this support system that you need to help in various areas of your life. Again, speaking to like the complexities. Uh,
Yes.
and I think that's sort of like when you talked about clinicians, some clinicians may not want to deal with or may not feel comfortable working with populations that are with people that are dealing with addiction. It's a complex problem. I think that often is scary to deal with, and often I think also they're like this sort of messy sort of process for clinicians that they may not be as willing to engage in.
Yeah, and something that extra I want to add to that I feel like steps us aside from other mental health practices, that we also have clinicians that specialize in certain um, segments of or disciplines within a person may experience. So we have the licensed social workers, we have the marriage and family therapists, we have the licensed professional counselors, we have a psychologist. So we're very versed in making sure we gear what that person may need and have that person placed with whom they need to be placed with. Um, so I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no, that's incredible and so important. Speaking to how diverse the field of mental health is, and that specialty does matter when
Yeah.
you're working with different people that are dealing with different problems. Um, I love the fact that you have worked with so many different sectors, Ashley, from schools to detention facilities. And I'm wondering if you can speak to the unique challenges of working with different populations, but also the rewards that you've been seeing in your work.
Okay. So for me, a challenge, I love challenges, right? Because it's like outside looking in, I come with a clear lens. So that's the first step. Um, Outside of that, I also look at the staff approaches, the environmental variables, the things within external that could possibly be modified to help in any given situation. So those are things that we can like tackle hands on outside of the person. Then you look at the medications, right? Whether they see what metabolizes better, so they're getting a referral back to their doctor to see what medicines is working for them, what may not be working for them, or if they haven't been taking it at all. So just kind of ruling out any medical, and then uh, just finding the motivation, that person's motivation, right? We could give them a list of things to do or be inspired by, but we really have to start with that person to help them identify their own motivation to do. And then from there, it loosens the challenge up a lot because you have something to work with and for.
Hmm. It's really interesting when you, Ashley, when you speak of like the motivational piece behind this work, and in a sense, there's like it's essentially twofold. It's the clinician definitely need to have some motivation, right, in
Yeah,
order to even be in this role, but also a huge part of the working with individuals that may be incarcerated is that motivational piece, that change piece, which I think it's a large part of the work, assessing whether people are ready or want to change and where they are
right,
in that change process.
exactly.
Um, just wanting to hear your thoughts on that.
Um, well, as you mentioned, changed at where level they may be on, right? Denial, acceptance, etc. But us as clinicians being able to take a step back and not to impede on what they should be doing, but be of an encouragement.
Yeah.
So wherever place they may be in, as long as we can rule out suicidal ideations, homicidal ideations that really, place that person at risk of harm to themselves or others, we have something to work with.
Mhm.
The number one thing I try to ask a person is, what's the most important thing to you worth living for? And
Right.
then with that, we're able to develop some type of communication, hopefully some type of professional relationship, and the understanding that, hey, I'm here to respect you as
Mhm.
well as receive respect and go from there.
Yeah, what really stands out to me, Ashley, is the question that you asked is really a question of hope. what's worth living for. And I think a part of when we talked about the motivation, the underlying factor of motivation is their hope. And a
Mhm.
part of what you are all doing is helping people either to hope again, to find hope, or to see the hope that there is life is worth living.
Yes. Number one quote I always refer back to is motivation doesn't last, so that's why we have to continue to work on it every day.
That's incredible. I wondered if you can speak to like some of the reasons why people turn to drugs and substance abuse to help them through, or to sort of, I guess, numb through certain things in life. What are some of the leading factors or causes to substance use and addictions?
I would say to sum it all up, the part of healing leads to that. If you haven't addressed your past to the point where you don't feel embarrassed by it, um, you don't feel like you're alone, um, you don't have restless nights, you don't have nightmares, you don't have fears. So it really ties back to addressing those points in life where you need to learn how to heal. You need to learn how to grow from and become who you are today. And being able to stand and represent yourself as a proud person, a respectable person. So that's what I would say is trauma, whether it's trauma or just areas within your life that you have not truly processed and healed from. And instead of healing, you decided to just continue to venture on in life and then pick up habits that, as you said, numb the situation, numbs the feeling, and it becomes a pattern and a habit of behaviors.
Absolutely. And that there goes that word trauma that we use. I think we use so much. I feel like over the pandemic, so I'm also a mental health professional, so I really appreciate the word trauma, of course. And we use it so much, and I'm grateful for that, because I think what we begin to do as a society is we've begun to normalize talking about problems, talking about the fact that it's okay not to be okay, that being human is a complex experience
Yeah.
that does come with trials and pain and trauma, and then learning how to navigate and overcome, building the resilience and the muscles in your heart and mind that help you deal and overcome with those challenges that life throws at you.
Yeah.
And so part of your work is helping people through that, through these really incredible process of life that could
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
very, hard and difficult and disheartening, which is why many people like you serve turn to addictions.
And unfortunately, the person may not realize the road that they're leading until they lose their job,
Mm,
they lose their family, they lose things that they hold a value of importance to themselves, and they wonder why,
mhm.
right? Then they start figuring out why. And it's just almost like behaving with no consequence. But finally, when there's a consequence, you have to like look at yourself and figure out what I need to do.
It's so powerful, it's so strong. I'm wondering, as we're coming to a close in just a few moments, if you can share a success story of a client that you've worked with and that you've been able to help. And I know these take time. There's no magic wand to wave, right?
Yeah,
But sometimes I think there are micro wins and successes that we often don't see as success stories. But whenever
yeah.
you had any that you can or be willing to share with us.
Had so many, but one that really steps out to me or stands out to me, had a client that came in for detox. He finished detox. He finished the intensive outpatient treatment. He earned his tokens for everything, and he ended up coming back being a peer specialist.
It's incredible.
Um, he ended up coming back and sitting down in my office and telling me thank you. And
Wow.
I had no idea what he was actually thanking me for, because I was like, I treat everyone the same. I provide quality service to everyone that comes I come across. But I received it. I said thank you. But to me, that really stood out because I remember how he came in,
Mm.
and I remember how he walked out, and I was like, wow, I'm doing something. I'm helping. So that was very rewarding.
I mean, that's so powerful that what you said there, like it really captures it. The essence of your work is I remember how you came in and I remember how you walked out. And actually the reality is we need more changing lanes intervention human services programs that care about people, that are invested in bringing hope to individuals that may be at the rock bottom in life, and that are invested in making sure the way you come out is not the way you come in won't be the way you come out, right? But we have so many of these horror stories that happen in these other programs where people do come in for help, and unfortunately they leave and they overdose, or they, even worse. And so I appreciate the fact that your organization captures that. Doesn't mean you'll be able to help every single person,
Doesn't.
um, right? Because again, this is such a complex, um, you know, um, profession and what we're
Yeah,
doing. But the fact that you've been able to do that for the ones you have is absolutely powerful.
yeah. I definitely thank you. Yes, it is.
So, what's your vision? Tell us where do you, in closing, where do you see this going over the next
Yes.
year? How you see yourself changing the industry, changing the world?
Yeah, so change and continue to change lanes. Um, with that also being said, I have a nonprofit called Change Lanes Therapy for those with no insurance to still seek that quality service. So, really, that's in the future, as well as Acres. I see a campus that is equipped to be able to service all of those that we talked about today. And what I mean campus is acres upon acres with uh, facilities available and equipped with what we need to be able to do what we need to do to service those, you know, far and near.
Awesome. And right now, changing lanes is serving individuals in which states?
Currently, right now, we provide service in Idaho, California, Georgia, and Alabama.
Awesome, incredible. And how do people reach out to you if they are interested in they either have insurance or they don't have insurance? I know you mentioned the nonprofit leg. What could people reach out to find out next steps?
Yeah, so you can visit our website at clihumanservices.com. From there, you can click on our services tab and it gives you a blueprint of different services that we offer. It's very user friendly. So if you want to schedule consult, you can on there. If you want to do intake, it has all the intake information on there as well.
Thank you, Ashley. And if you can just leave us with any words that, for those that may either know someone that's dealing with an addiction and may not know how to help them, or someone that may actually be dealing with an addiction and may be dealing with shame or embarrassment, to talk to someone, if you can just give any words of encouragement to those people in closing.
Yeah, so I definitely want to share the number of 988. It's a crisis line. You can call from anywhere. If you definitely need someone 24/7, definitely consider that number. Outside of that, really, truly ask yourself, are you ready? And if you can confidently say yes, then reach out to your local community service board or just look up an outpatient facility nearby and just ask. If you want to give me a call, I don't mind you calling us 770-580-4116, 770-580-4116. I don't mind giving you the resources that we do have. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there as well.
Thank you, Ashley. And that number was 988 for those that might need someone to talk to right away, depending on what city or state you're in. Also, there are statewide numbers that do help and support you. We know that this is not an easy thing to come forward with if you are one that deals with addiction. But if there's someone that you trust, whether it's a pastor or a friend or parent that you can confide in, I also always encourage people to try to talk to someone that you know, and just know that there is hope. That one question that Ashley asks her patients: "What's worth living for?" That there is more to life. There is something worth living for. And
Yeah.
sort of how do we find that? To remember that there is hope and that you're not alone. There are incredible organizations like Ashley that are helping people walk out differently than they walked in.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you so much. I really want to just honor you for the work that you're doing. I know this is not easy. As a fellow mental health therapist and specialist, I understand the what's what's out there, what we have to come against. So I appreciate what you do. Please keep moving forward and growing, expanding. We'd love to also think about ways that we can partner if you ever come.
Yes. Yes.
And for those
Definitely.
that are in New York, we have mental health services through our school-based programs. So if you are a school interested in mental health services on your school campus from
Yes.
elementary to high school, you can reach out to iRaise and we're happy to do an assessment and to help get a clinic up and running in your school as soon as this year. You can reach out to us on our website at www.iraceinc.org or through our email at info@iraceinc.org. Ashley, any last words as we close out?
Stay encouraged, stay motivated, and stay positive.
I
That's
love
all we can do.
I love that. Find hope.
Yeah.
Stay encouraged, stay positive, and stay motivated. And as Ashley said, motivation is something that we have to keep at,
Yes, we do.
something
It's,
that's infinite.
it's a job.
Thank you, Ashley. I hope to have you back on soon. And it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you spending this time with me. Thank you to our audience. Thank you for those that have listened, have tuned in. Again, we want you to share this message out to your colleagues, to your networks, especially if you are a clinician or therapist, an educator, a parent, or just a neighbor. Share it out so we can amplify these messages to make sure that we get the word out and form our community, let them know that they're not alone, that there is hope, and that there are incredible organizations like Ashley's that is helping people come out and get better. So, again, thank you so much. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at iRaise.org, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on I think Twitter. I don't even know if it's called Twitter anymore. I always feel like I say that all the time. Um, just follow us. Reach out to us if you need us. We're here for you. We love you guys so much. We'll be back again. Firesides are now every 2 weeks. We'll